For those who refused a police vehicle search during a traffic stop, what happened next? Back in 2001, I was 17 years old and picked up my buddy from work at 11 p.m. on a Friday, who was also 17 years old. I was waiting in front of the grocery store where he worked. He ran out of the store just being an idiot and got in my truck. There was a police car behind me. The police car followed me out of the parking lot and immediately pulled me over. He asked if he could search my truck. My truck was a tiny two-seater. If we had stolen anything, there was no place to hide it. I asked for what reason. He just asked to search it again, and I said no. He could see that my buddy was still wearing his work clothes. The cop came back and gave me a ticket for having a clear license plate cover. They were legal at the time, but said it was cloudy and obstructing my plate. Obviously looking for something to punish me for. I pled not guilty to the ticket and requested a trial. I went to the initial hearing, told the judge the story, and showed the judge the cover that it was clear. The judge just asked me to leave it uninstalled and threw out the ticket. I refused to give consent to having my car searched. I was then asked to get out of my car and take a field sobriety test. I declined and insisted that I be given a blood test instead. I was taken to the emergency room. While my car was impounded, my blood alcohol level was determined to be 0.0 because I had not been drinking. I was still expected to pay to get my vehicle out of impound where it had been searched for safety reasons. Nothing illegal was found, of course. Not only did I refuse to pay, but the damage done to the car in their search was extensive. They didn't search the car in the impound lot, they just vandalized it extensively, including ripping up carpet, shredding the car seat's vinyl and stuffing, smashing windows and ripping off door panels and poking holes in the gas tank. I sued in court over this whole thing, and since the cop who initially pulled me over kept lying to the judge about his reasons and getting caught in those lies, since he thought he had turned off the dashboard camera in his car, he assumed that he couldn't be heard or seen when he and the other cops he called to the scene conspired to penalize me for refusing the search. I won. I won so much I was able to get an even nicer car on the taxpayer's dime. Nothing, of course, happened to the cop who fabricated the whole situation. Pulled over for not turning my lights on in a parking lot. Realized they were off and turned them on before getting to the road. The police officer asked if I had been drinking, to which I replied no. He asked if I had any open containers, to which I said no, and I stated I did not consent to a search when he asked if I minded if he checked. He then informed me that turning your lights on late was a sign of being drunk, so he really needed to check. I said that I had already responded that I had not, and I was still not consenting to a search. He then went straight pissy mode, claiming he was just going to give me a warning until I started getting all unfriendly with him. I told him that I agreed that I turned my lights on fairly late, but he was effectively calling me a liar to my face. So, unless he had reasonable suspicion and I was being detained, I would be happy to take my ticket and move on. He cut me off just before the end of it and said I was free to go. It's sort of like a game to them, but if you're saying enough of the right words, they have to decide if they have anything better to do that night or not. Luckily for me, it seemed there were other things for him to do. My friend agreed to have his car searched once while I was with him. We had just been waiting to pick up a girl who was taking forever to get ready in an expensive neighborhood, but he had a crappy college kid used car. He had nothing to hide and said okay. Those cops tore everything apart in his car, broke panels open, and even ripped open fabric to look inside. He just sat on the curb kinda stunned. He had a hacky sack they tore it open and poured the beads across his floor. He had a jacket in the car, they tore open the pockets to check in the lining, etc. Books and papers dumped, glove compartment dumped. It was like volunteering to get bullied. I would never ever consent to getting my stuff trashed when you can just say no. The one time I've declined, it went like this. Cop: why does your vehicle smell like marijuana? Me: I was not aware it did. Cop: may I search your vehicle? Me: no. Cop: okay, have a nice day. This was a once-off. Before that, I was dumb and let them search my car. That was the last time I've been pulled over, so I will see what happens next time. Within seconds of being pulled over for swerving, I wasn't, a second car pulled up with a drug dog. He said, your dad's license is expired, to which I said, does that affect my license somehow? He pauses, then goes, no, we are performing random searches, stay in the vehicle. Proceeds to bring the drug dog to my trunk and starts barking and jumps on it, which gives them probable cause. I've never done drugs in my life. They put me in the back of a cop car and proceed to tear everything out of my car, including my musical instruments, on the side of the highway for an hour. They asked me about 5 times if I have any hard drugs and had me do DUI tests. Finally let me go when they found nothing. I get back into the car and see they even went through my GPS looking at where I was going. Immediately they go around me and flip the lights on for the very next car they see. I'm probably fortunate I was friendly, relaxed, and white. They were just looking for any excuse to get someone. I still wonder if maybe they trained the dog to bark on command to give them probable cause for searches whenever they want, or potentially a false positive hit when the dog gets excited. Was at a gaming party with my colleague brothers, played Call of Duty until 2 a.m, went to drive home and saw a police officer outside the house I was hanging out at. As soon as I left, he followed me and pulled me over. I asked why I was being pulled over as I barely got to even leave the driveway. He told me he ran my plates and that the vehicle was stolen. Turns out he never ran my plates, just wanted to check if I was drinking. Was very upset to be pulled over for a false cause. Told him the only thing I had to drink was Mountain Dew and Monster Energy. Context from Montana driving through Minnesota in my wife's Bug-Eye WRX. Police, mirror tinting is illegal. I'm going to need to search your car since I can't see into it. Me, sir, if you take a closer look, you'll see that it's not mirrored. It starts dark at the bottom and turns blue from the middle to the top. You should absolutely be able to see in. Police checks, then walks around and comes back. Police, looks like you have an illegally modified exhaust. Me, sir, that's stock exhaust on a WRX and it's completely legal in Montana. Police, why are you in Minnesota? Me, visiting family. Police, you're free to go. Me, you don't need my license and registration. Police, size, just go. I was sent on my way with a warning. A friend and I were leaving a New Year's Eve party and got pulled over. The officer asked if we had been drinking. I hadn't and was driving. He then asked if he could search the car for any open containers of alcohol, which I declined. He then said I had been swerving and to pay better attention. I wasn't swerving. My girlfriend's mom was a traffic court judge and told me this was most likely an attempt to get the first arrest or ticket of the year and win an office pool. Since I wasn't obviously doing anything, he didn't want to waste his time and sent me on my way. Canine officer walks his dog around my car after I said he did not have permission to search after a broken taillight stop. Dog hits. I ask him how he knows. He is specially trained. Searches my car, finds nothing, but someone definitely smoked weed in this car. They didn't. Favorite part of that stop is my car was messy as heck, so we had to sift through everything just to find nothing. On our way home from Vegas, my wife and I got pulled over by a cop. He said it was because I switched lanes right next to a car he was about to stop. He thought I was a tail car and was there to distract cops so the drug runner could keep going. It sounded like a bunch of crap, but knowing I had nothing to hide, I made them waste their time. The best part of it was when the cop took out our laundry bag, stuck his head in it, and took a big whiff. Promptly closed the bag and dropped it on the ground. That had a week's worth of our desert laundry in it. Made the whole thing worth it. I'm an attorney and politely declined a vehicle search in Maryland. Backup arrived. I was never told why I was pulled over, nor did I ask. After declining the search, they brought the canine, which inevitably hit after I saw the officer give the dog the signal by tapping on the door 3 times. Of course, they tore my car apart and found absolutely nothing, as I do not do drugs, drink, or take any medications beyond the occasional multivitamin. I am in law enforcement and know that many police officers train a backdoor signal to drug canines that manufacture probable cause to search. They might tap a couple of times or say a code word, and the dog will hit whenever they do. Nothing ever came to the stop after 6 cruisers, 8 officers, and a canine, all because I refused a search and politely refused to answer any questions. After the stop was over, I was issued a warning for 37 in a 35. I also made sure to alert the officer handling the canine that the dog's false positive needs to be added to the dog's report, as it is discoverable evidence the next time he secures an arrest. He did not like that. Car smelled like marijuana because my dumb friend brought his packed pipe and stuck it in the glove box. Calmly refused the search. Cop said that was fine, but now he was going to call the dogs to come and have a sniff. Made us sit and sweat for about 20 minutes, then walked up, said I was lucky, and he had been called away somewhere else, and to not drive stoned. I just told him no, I'm not consenting to a search. The cop brought a canine in to sniff the outside of the vehicle. No idea why, because I was only pulled over for an expired inspection sticker. He seemed a bit irritated when nothing was found and wrote me a ticket for the sticker. He could have written the ticket at the beginning and saved us both an hour. They asked why I was refusing. Because you asked, so I have the option of saying no. The cop continued. What are you, a lawyer? My response, no, I'm actually a veteran, and voluntarily giving up my constitutional rights for no freaking reason isn't something I do lightly. And if there's no other questions, I would like to be on my way. handed my documents back, and that was it. Simply put, if a cop asks to search your car, the answer is always no. Why? Because they asked. He made my wife and me get out of the car. I put my car in valet mode when he lit me up, as I do anytime I'm getting stopped, which locks the glove box and trunk. I keep my car very clean, so all he found was Tums, insurance registration, and sunglasses in the center console. In my door pocket was a Kit Kat wrapper. The back seat had my hoodie with nothing in the pockets. Since he can't open the locked glove box or trunk without a warrant, he wrote me a ticket for 4 miles per hour over and sent me on my way. He originally stopped me for 74 in a 70, but was extra pissy because he was going 70 in the fast lane and I passed him on the right. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, reactions, and of course your own wild stories in the comments, and here's another video YouTube thinks you'll love.